which has become a big business now, making hotels safer for people with allergies, but also to sporting arenas, to hospitals. What were you seeing in the marketplace, that a niche that needed to be filled?
Well, the idea of everybody going green today and trying to be sustainable, we thought that if we made it the biggest impact in the professional sports arena and used those stadiums and arenas as educational platforms to tell the world about improved air quality, reduced energy costs, and just becoming a greener, healthier place to be, that would go from the sports stadiums to colleges, to schools, and eventually to the consumer. And I have to tell you, it's been very successful. And today we're at that consumer level, but we're responsible for doing about 4 or 5 sports stadiums that you'll know today, like the Dallas Cowboys and the Jacksonville Jaguars and Kansas City Chiefs, the Chicago Cubs, so it's actually fun. We're helping people, and it's breathing. Breathing is believing.
Yeah, and this, as I said, with hotels too, when you go to stay in a hotel and that there's some kind of not necessarily even a contaminant, but there's something that you're sensitive to.
Well, think about it. Every time we go away, whether we get on an airplane or we check into a hotel, that's probably an area that's unfamiliar and an area that we're susceptible to. Allergies and asthma are a tremendous issue these days. 60 million people have allergies. So if we can put our devices inside a hotel room and create a cleaner, healthier environment, it's going to create a better night's stay. And for the hotel, it's going to create a brand that they're going to be proud of and they're going to want to talk about throughout their whole hotel chain.
All right, this is one of your devices, and I look at this device and I say, oh yeah, I've seen those. I've seen those in the consumer market, and you told me a moment ago this is very different. What kind of technology are you using?
It is technology. It has a great history. It goes back to Albert Einstein, believe it or not. Einstein's sister was sick with tuberculosis, and she was told the best place in the world to get better was the Alps. Go to the mountains, breathe that fresh, clean air, and you will get better. And Einstein wanted to understand what makes the air quality so different in the mountains as compared to sea level. And he did some theory work, and he basically found out that there was a natural conductivity in the air. And that conductivity was negative and positive ions that we would breathe when we're in the mountains, and feel so good when you take that deep breath. But as you get closer to sea level and you come down that mountain, you deal with pollution, you deal with emissions, and so those ions have been depleted. And now, one step further, you go into a building that's being built now tighter, or in a household. Everybody wants to build tighter and save energy. But the problem is those contaminants that come from the rugs or the paints or machines, those have depleted those ions that much further. So what we've done by adding our ions into the space is bring back that fresh mountain environment.
So when you go into the Cowboys training facility,
yes,
do you put this in the ductwork, or do you install freestanding units? How does it work?
Initially, we put it in the ductwork. We usually take...
That was what this would be.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. This is a device with one of those tubes, and I should say Einstein had the idea of conductivity, but Conrad Habicht developed and invented this tube. And this tube, when you put airflow over it, creates these negative and positive ions that attack the contaminants in the space. So what it does is actually pulls out dust particles, mold spores, bacteria, viruses, and germs, and then it attacks VOCs and odors and breaks it down into CO2 and water vapor. So it makes it a clean, fresh smell. So in a locker room where they're worried about MRSA and staph, we put this in to help protect the players. And it starts in the locker room, but before you know it, everybody wants to breathe that clean air throughout the entire facility. So where we started in 30,000 square feet, today it's 100,000 square feet, and we do so by just adding more tubes.
So interesting. Southwestern Connecticut-based company now throughout the United States and globally, or is that
globally? Yeah, we are starting now to infiltrate into different areas. We just came back from the global ASHRAE show, where we had about 400 lead opportunities, and 100 of them now are overseas.
Wow. It's Atmos Air in Fairfield. Steve, so good having you on the program.
Thank you very much, Becky.
All right, we'll be back with more 12 on the Money after a break.